fridge in August of this year. I think that kind of community fridges have been around, for several years. They've existed for a long time, but because of the pandemic, they've definitely, they're popping up in cities all over the country. And so in July, I saw that there were lots of them opening in New York, and my cousin actually opened one in New York, and I was like, that sounds really cool. I thought there's one in Philly, I want to help out with it. And I did some research, and there actually hadn't been a fridge open in Philly yet. So I went ahead and, gathered the volunteers and kind of set up those logistics. And while I was doing that in South Philly, there were actually several other community members across the city who are doing that as well. Mm-hmm. So now we have 2 fridges in South Philly. There's a fridge in West Philly. There's a fridge in Germantown. And then there are just so many other locations for people, to access food. So our 2 fridges in South Philly are both east of Broad Street. We are hoping to open one west of Broad or farther south, south of Snyder. But, we're doing whatever we can to just make sure that the 2 fridges we have are stocked regularly.
So can I, before we get a little further, can I ask, how did you get the volunteers together? Because that you said it so smoothly, like it was a quick and easy process. Could you tell me more about that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I think that there were just a lot of people who were looking to help, and I think that's why it was a little bit easier for us to get some volunteers. Mm-hmm. I think so. I was laid off because of COVID all the way back in March, and the first thing I wanted to do was kind of turn back to the community and say, okay, what can I do to support other people who are in the same situation that I am? Mm-hmm. And so I was already getting a little bit involved with other mutual aid organizations, and when I started the fridge, something that I found is people really like kind of being able to do something that's pretty low stakes, like cleaning the fridge. It doesn't take a long time. It's not a super difficult task. You don't have to do it often, but it's still a really important way to give back to the community. And so presenting volunteer opportunities like that, I think it really helps to get a lot of people on board. And it's something that a lot of people are really passionate about. Mm-hmm. And it is pretty different from a lot of other volunteer opportunities in the city. Often in terms of kind of food distribution, it's really hands-on. You might be serving food to other people, and I think there was a lot of wariness around that, especially because of the pandemic. Yeah. And so this is a little bit more, you're still giving food back to the community, but in a little bit more of a hands-off way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, nice. Great. Thank you. So how did you decide on the locations? Are you from the South Philly area?
So I have lived in Point Breeze for about 2 years now. I've lived all over Philly, but I've lived in Point Breeze for about 2 years now. And so South Philly, just because I live here, obviously fridges can and should be in every neighborhood in Philadelphia. But for me personally, I was like, well, I live here, so let me just do one here. And I cold called and cold emailed a lot of different businesses. And that's why, we ended up with 2 locations east of Broad Street, just because I haven't been able to locate a business who wants to host a fridge kind of closer to where I live. Mm-hmm. But I emailed Bach Building because I knew that Bach, has hosted so many different events and there's so many different vendors. And I really thought that this would be something that Bach could really get behind. And so they've been really amazing hosts. And then our other fridge, which was actually our first fridge, is located at Radiance Medical Group, which is a really small practice. They do direct care. They offer sliding scales. Dr. Borja, who is the doctor there, is just has always been really supportive of the community. And so I still remember when I called her at 8 p.m. Intending to leave a voicemail one day, and she picked up the phone, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry to bother you, here's I'm reaching out to see if you would be interested in opening a community fridge and hosting it at your location. And she was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, did you want more details or like information. And she was like, yeah, I mean, like, you can email it to me, but like, yeah, that sounds really cool. I want to do it. So, and that's a little bit more of a residential area. So I think that's also been really nice.
No, it is. It's a great, and then even just the setup that you all have, like the iron casing around it to protect it from the weather and everything. It's a really great setup. What is the community's response been to it?
People have been really, really excited about it. So I know that there were a couple people who were a little bit concerned, like, when I was kind of pitching the idea to people, they were like, aren't people just going to open the fridge and like take all the food from it? And that hasn't really happened. I mean, I think you'll see occasionally, people at different events going and kind of taking a bunch of stuff that you might think they might not need, but you never know what people are looking for, what they need. And also in general, like, people really stick to the kind of idea of like, take what you need. Like, they're like, you know what, like, I see 2 containers of milk, but I only need 1, so I'm only going to take 1 and I'm going to leave, another 1 for someone else to take. People really like it. It's definitely been really helpful. We have gotten some community feedback about like what food people want to see. And that's also really important to us. So there are actually a bunch of kids who live near the location on 6th Street. And the kids are like, oh, we want more cookies. And we're like, okay, like, yeah, why not? We'll put some more cookies in the fridge. We originally did not allow meat in our fridge for kind of sanitary reasons, kind of dietary or religious restrictions. But then we actually got a lot of feedback from the community that they did want some meat options in the fridge. And so we revised that guideline a little bit, where we'll accept, like cooked sausages or, like chicken salad or something like that. So there are meat options for people in the fridge. So, we really try to, we don't just want to be like, oh, like, here's some food, like, take what you can get. We really want to make sure that we're getting food that people actually want to eat or need to kind of stock up their pantries and their fridges with at home.
So what is the food source for the fridge?
Sure. So right now, our biggest source is actually, we shop for food every day. We do work with Sharing Excess. We work with several different locations. V-Mark's The Shop, which is like a vegan grocer here in South Philly. They will often give us some of whatever they have left over. Row House Grocer, they have an option for people to, so you can like purchase meals from Row House Grocer, and then there's also an option to purchase like a donated meal to the fridge. So they'll, prepare foods and put it in the fridge that way. And then other places, when they have leftovers, when they just have different things, the bagel place, we always get a ton of bagels. And then with the bagels, we get, we purchase peanut butter, cream cheese, jellies, butter, stuff like that. But yeah, the biggest thing is we shop for the fridges every day or almost every single day, because we want to make sure that they're always stocked, that there's enough food for everyone who wants it, and the turnover is just really high, so that's why we're kind of constantly stocking it. Okay,
great. So, and you said earlier that you all are planning a couple of sites on the west side of Broad Street in South Philadelphia, and some one closer to Snyder.
So that's what we're hoping for. We're still, reaching out to businesses for potential hosts. So if anyone has any recommendations, definitely send them our way. We definitely, there are a couple of businesses who are interested, but it is pretty. I understand why some businesses might be hesitant to do it. But, we provide a lot of information about kind of the involvement of the businesses and the liability for the businesses, which there really isn't any. But we provide that information up front. And yeah, so right now, I am reaching out to different businesses, like I said, both west of Broad Street and also closer, like farther south of Snyder. But we're always looking for people to recommend businesses, or if you're a business owner, if someone is a business owner, let them know. We're happy to provide more information, and have a chat about what it would be like to open up a fridge at a new location.
Definitely. And my last question is, what should people know about hunger and food insecurity in Philadelphia?
Gosh, I don't know if I'm the expert on that, but I think that don't ever assume that your neighbor is food secure. I think food insecurity affects a lot more people, a lot more families than people realize. And I think that when thinking about, opening these types of resources, yes, focus on neighborhoods where I would say it's like, quote unquote, apparent that people in that neighborhood need resources, but also, they're needed everywhere. And so I think it's not like, oh, like I'm gonna, I live in this neighborhood and I'm gonna go, a couple neighborhoods over and help the people there. And it's kind of like that charity mindset, which we kind of shy away from. It's no, there are people who live next to me, there are my friends and my family who are experiencing this. And so I'm gonna help like my immediate surroundings, kind of not questioning that, just, putting out that, putting out those resources for everybody to share.
Those are all the questions that I had. Thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. And again, the work that you all are doing is it's excellent. We have so many food pantries across the city, and so that we're connected to, and so many of our sites are close to those refrigerator sites. That's why I'm reaching out to you all. 52nd Street. I'm reaching out. I think the work that we're all doing in hunger, it should just the information should just be shared amongst us all.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes, I would definitely, want to be connected. I think that that's one of the best things that's come out of this is out of the kind of project and me working on this project is I think now more than ever, all of these organizations are being connected. I think, maybe a year ago or 2 years ago, everyone was operating a little bit independently, but now we all really rely on each other. I think it's a lot easier for, again, kind of like quote unquote, like people who might not work in food justice or food distribution, it's kind of people who don't have that background experience still getting involved and learning more. And I think that's really awesome. I think there are a ton of people, who are really invested in it. So yeah, I definitely love to be connected.
Okay, great. I'll get right on that then.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much. It was really nice to talk to you.
Likewise. Enjoy the rest of your day and stay safe as well.